as on any messaging platform, I'm crap. It's a thing amongst my friends that if they ever message me, they either just don't expect to reply or they expect to reply like days later. Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah and I love to talk about books. And today I'm going to talk to you about my July TBR, or yeah, maybe that's a bit of false advertising. It's more like part TBR, part pile of possibilities. I don't know who coined that phrase, but I think that suits it perfectly. I don't want to be too prescriptive with my TBR at the moment because I've only just got my reading mojo back and I do not want to scare it off. It is a very timid animal at the moment. So, and also in July I'll be changing jobs. I'm probably going to be anxious as hell, have quite a few sleepless nights, and just be a little bit preoccupied for reading, so I don't want to pile on too many expectations on myself. I've actually done a bit of thinking around my reading expectations for the year and the TBR that I planned for 2021 and made some changes, but that's going to be a whole other video that I will do later on in the month. I'm sitting in front of the boiler cupboard at the moment and my son is having a shower, and his showers tend to last about 5 to 6 hours, so it's likely that if you can hear my boiler, it's going to be a companion for us for the rest of the video. And you may hear his music as well. He has the tunes blasting when he's in the shower, so this is the only chance I've got to film, guys. We just need to suck it up and get on with it. But yeah, like I said, so it's part TBR. So there are some books that I definitely need to get to in July because I am judging for the Booktube Prize non-fiction semi-final, and so I've got 6 books to read for that, and the deadline for that is the end of July. Seeing as this is my first round of judging the Booktube Prize ever, I don't want to cock that up, so that's definitely my priority. So like I said, there's 6 books in that. In June I've already finished Caste by Isabel Wilkerson and Our Bodies Are Battlefields by, I cannot remember who the author of that is. Oh, Christina. I'm not allowed to say what I thought about them until after all the scores and rankings are collated, but Caste, Isabel Wilkerson is looking at how the issues of race in America they've gone beyond racism. It's part of an inherent caste structure that America has had since before it was America, and she's looking at that and other caste systems across the world. And in Our Bodies Are Battlefields, Christina is looking at the impact of war on women. Before the month is out, I also hope to get started, maybe even finish, the address book by Deirdre Mask. This is, in fact, the subtitle pretty much says it all. What street addresses reveal about identity, race, wealth and power. And so I am getting to borrow that from Ange over at Ange's Bookish Chatter. Thank you, lifesaver, for a skint person trying to do the Booktube Prize, because let me tell you, I will budget for it better next year. So that's the first 3 books, and then the next 3 books I want to get to in July, but I'm having to wait until payday because none of them are available in the library, so I'm gonna have to buy them all. And I'm skint, so that has to wait until I get that money. But the first one is The Dead Are Arising by Payne, and this is a biography of Malcolm X. I understand that Payne, over like 30 years, interviewed Malcolm X's family, people that knew him, people that were involved in the trials that came after his assassination, things like that. And so this is a well-researched book. I guess it's a chunker, considering it's got 30 years worth of research in it. I'm really interested in learning more about Malcolm X. I do not know enough about him. I watched the documentary is it Who Killed Malcolm X, that's on Netflix. But I'll be honest, there was tons of names and things. I didn't really follow the thread very well through it. I'm not very good at concentrating on television. I concentrate far better at books. So I am looking forward to widening my knowledge about Malcolm X. And then I have Notes on a Silencing by Lucy Crawford. This is a memoir. So Lucy was at a quite elite Catholic school in, I think it's America, I'm assuming it's America, when she was a teenager, and she was sexually assaulted. I don't know if it was by pupils or staff, but the silencing that it's talking about in the title is basically nothing ever came of her experience or her complaint, and she grew up just trying to push that down and move on with her life. But then as an adult, other cases of sexual assault in the school came to light through some, I think, journalist investigations, and she decided to put her voice to that, and in that process found that there was a big institutional silencing of these complaints. I think it's really important to get the stories of sexual abuse survivors out, particularly when those abuses have then been perpetuated by a horrible, corrupt institution, and you're looking at people who are using their power not only to abuse but also to get away with that abuse. So I think that's going to be tough, but I'm always interested in that topic. And then the third book is The Dragons, the Giant, the Woman by Wayétu. This is a memoir of a Liberian woman who had to escape the country during the first civil war when she was quite a young child. So it follows that escape that her and I think her family had to do on foot, and then they were smuggled across the border into Sierra Leone. And then it also looks at her life as an immigrant in America, where she had to learn to live with this new identity of being a Black woman whilst living in Texas. So that to me just sounds utterly compelling. I love hearing about the immigrant experience, and I haven't read anything from Liberia. I don't really know the history or anything around that. So I'm interested in learning more about that. So that sounds like that's going to be a really good read as well. And then another book, although there's no pressure, but I would quite like to do it while it's, you know, strike while the iron is hot. I'm going to do my first buddy read. I'm going to do my first buddy read. So this is something that I've wanted to do for ages, but I know it might seem strange for someone who routinely talks to a camera and puts herself out on the internet, but I'm quite I don't even know if shy is the word, because I'm quite good at acting confident. Like when I'm meeting people for the first time or going into meetings at work and things like that, I've got like a good front. I think that comes from my midwifery, when you had to go into the labour suite room and reassure and, you know, make the woman and her family comfortable, often at really testing times. And so I feel like I've kind of got that air about me that I am confident, but I'm not. And so I've really wanted to do buddy reads. I put the call out, and I know some of you responded to that, and then I kind of just went, oh, I don't know. And then I was a little bit nervous about, what if I can't keep up? What if I let the person down? All these sorts of things. So the wonderful Scott over at Gunpowder Fiction and Plot is taking me under his very experienced buddy reading wing. It's just one wing in it. Yeah. And he's offered to just do a really no pressure, relaxed, chill buddy read. And we looked at books that we both had or were both interested in, and we have decided on Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. So this is a memoir. Trevor Noah was born, as the title says, no, So he was born to a black mother and a white father in apartheid South Africa, where his mere existence was against the law. You know, having a mixed race child was punishable. I think it was like up to 5 years in prison. So his mother had to keep him hidden from the government when he was a young child. And it wasn't until apartheid ended that they got more of a sense of freedom. You might recognise his name. He's gone on to present I think it's the Daily Show that I can't remember, he used to present it. It gets shown over here in the UK, so I've caught a few episodes, including maybe like 1 or 2 that Trevor Noah has presented, but it's not something I routinely watch. So I don't know much about Trevor Noah going into this book. It was more the story of his life that attracted me to this book rather than the celebrity. And I think it's probably going to give me and Scott a lot to talk about. Scott's really thoughtful on issues of race and prejudice, and I'm really looking forward to that conversation. And I have to say, it was Scott that's introduced me to Voxer, so I've got a few of you on Voxer now. If you're on Voxer and you would like to chat, leave me a comment in the box below, and I'll give you my name or handle or whatever it's called on Voxer. And actually, Voxer makes me feel quite a bit more chilled, quite like the walkie-talkie thing. But yeah, do be aware, as on any messaging platform, I'm crap. It's a thing amongst my friends that if they ever message me, they either just don't expect a reply or they expect a reply like days later, because I reply in my head and then I forget to do it in the message, and then I realise that time has passed and I'm thinking, oh God, I haven't replied to that message, and then I'm like, oh no, but now it's been too long, what do I say? And then there's that kind of anxiety about getting into a conversation. Am I the only person who's like this? Like, I'm a face-to-face kind of gal, right? That's my comfort zone when it comes to talking to other human beings. I'm not great on the phone, terrible with messages. So if you do get in touch with me on that, it will take me days to reply. I'm just telling you now. Anyway, total tangent. Yes, but hopefully buddy read with Scott, so that should be fun. And then the rest of the reading for the month, kind of keeping it not too prescriptive. Like I've got a NetGalley backlist that I need to get through, so that's kind of my priority, and I'm just working through that by release date. So the next couple I've got coming up, I've got Waiting to Begin by Amanda Prowse. I'm not sure why I requested this. I think this one's been on my list for a long time. So I obviously requested it at a time where I was requesting here, there and everywhere. I've never read this author before. It does sound quite interesting, but I don't know why I would have picked it as a NetGalley. But this is about Bess, who, when she's 16, something happens. Something that leaves her traumatized and ashamed. And then we meet her when she's in her 50s, and she has to face whatever that was that happened when she was 16 in order to save her marriage. So I'm guessing it was just because it was a woman in her 50s, and I'm quite interested in reading about women kind of my age and older. So, you know, there's that. And then I've got Widowland by CJ Carey, which is an alternative history, which it seems that maybe after the Second World War, Germany won and they've made some sort of alliance with the UK. So Britain still has a monarchy, although it's a male monarch, a king, yeah. It's a king rather than the queen. But despite that, it's really kind of controlled by, I'm assuming by the name he's German, because it's Alfred Rosenberg. And he is a little bit obsessed about the role of women, and he has separated women into castes by kind of their reproductive ability, their age, and things like that. And so to me it sounds like it's kind of a mashup of The Man in the High Castle, The Handmaid's Tale, and 1984. So in my estimation, it will either be brilliant or it will be total crap. But it could be fun to find out which side of the line it lies on. And then I've got Waiting for the Waters to Rise by Maryse Condé. I hope that's how you pronounce it. But I'm going to have to read the back of this because I can't get my head straight enough to make it more succinct. So it's Babacar is a doctor living alone with only the memories of his childhood in Mali. In his dreams, he receives visits from his blue-eyed mother and his ex-lover Azelia, both now gone, as are the hopes and aspirations he's carried with him since his arrival in Guadeloupe. Until one day, the child Anna comes into his life, forcing him to abandon his solitude. Anna's Haitian mother died in childbirth, leaving her daughter destitute. Now Babacar is all she has, and he wants to offer this little girl a future. Together they fly to Haiti, a beautiful, mysterious island plagued by violence, government corruption and rebellion. Once there, Babacar and his two friends, the Haitian Movar and the Palestinian Fouad, three different identities looking for a more compassionate world, begin a desperate search for Anna's family. And I can definitely see why I requested this one. I've never read anything set in Haiti before, so that sounds interesting, but it's also bringing together lots of different cultures, and with an intriguing story as well, so that sounds like that could be good. But that gives me, what's that, 6, 7? So 3 booktube, 1 buddy read, and then 2 or 3 NetGalleys, and I think that's probably enough to be going on, maybe more than enough to be going on, we'll see. I had hoped with this new job that I would go back to commuting on the train, but my friend just told me how much the ticket prices have gone up over the pandemic, and fuck that. So I'm gonna have to drive, which is really annoying on multiple levels. 1, because it's bad for the environment, and 2, I won't have my reading time, which is a bit of a bummer, but I do get an hour's lunch break, whereas in the NHS we only get half an hour, so I can definitely fit in reading on my lunch breaks as long as I don't have to be sociable. So hopefully that's doable. These are all really new releases. I'm not sure if many of you will have read them yourselves, but have any of them sparked your interest? Do you like the sound of any of them? Or if not, what are you going to be reading in July? What are your top 3 books for July? Let's all make it a bit more manageable for ourselves, kids. Chill out with our books. And I think that's it for me. So until next time, bye. So I obviously requested a time where I was easy breezy, free and cheesy. I don't know. Told you I don't do poetry.